Coming up tonight on Newswatch, today we recognize U.S. veterans of all wars, as well as those currently serving in uniform. We'll visit a ceremony locally and one happening in our nation's capital.
Also, a former state senator makes an announcement on his political future. We'll tell you what Darren Bailey has to say about his run for governor. Emily?
Windy conditions continue, but a warm-up is on the way for central Illinois. By the weekend, temperatures will feel pretty nice. This is Newswatch, and your Tuesday's edition starts now.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection, commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
The Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street, the Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
Today is Veterans Day, a time to pay tribute to everyone who has served in the U.S. military. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Rashad Jones.
And I'm Matt Williamson. Celebrations happened all over central Illinois honoring veterans, including one at Eastern Illinois University. Faculty, staff, students, and the public gathered in the old main building to hear opening remarks from President Jay Gatrell, speeches from veterans, and ceremonial music. Veteran and EIU faculty member Chris Kugel says today means a lot to him and his family.
The older I've gotten, the more emotional attachment I've developed for Veterans Day. A dad who served close to 30 years and just the people I've met and served with, it just carries a different weight.
Currently, more than 180 veterans are attending Eastern Illinois using benefits from the GI Bill. The university supports people who have or are currently serving, along with their family members through the Military Student Assistance Center on campus.
Veterans Day was first commemorated after the end of the First World War and has been a federal holiday since 1954. Earlier today, President Donald Trump participated in a wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. He spoke about the importance of the day and the sacrifices made by the men and women who serve in the military.
Generation after generation, America's warriors have left behind the comforts of home and family to face violence, evil, and death so that our families could know joy, goodness, and peace. We honor them so strongly.
Oftentimes, people get Memorial Day and Veterans Day confused. Memorial Day is a time to remember those who gave their lives for our country, particularly in battle. Veterans Day honors all of those who have served our country in war or peace and largely intended to thank living veterans for their sacrifices.
And we have some sad news to pass along on this Veterans Day. A veteran's home caught fire early this morning in Ashmore on Oakland Road. Fire Chief Clay Berner says crews arrived on scene just after 5 to find the front half of the home engulfed in flames. Berner says firefighters were able to recover some personal items from the house, including a folded American flag still in its case. He says everyone was able to get out of the home, and a cause is still under investigation. Departments including Hutton, Oakland, Lincoln Fire, and Kansas assisted Ashmore with firefighting efforts.
Today's highs were a little bit warmer than what we saw yesterday, but still pretty cold out there with a high temperature of only 44 degrees here in Charleston, although we did get up near 50 over in Taylorville with a high temperature of 48 degrees. But as we move overnight tonight, we're going to see those temperatures begin to drop down into the 30s for our low. A low temperature of 36 degrees under mostly clear skies, and those winds from today will be continuing overnight tonight, with winds continuing to blow out of the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour, and those winds will continue into tomorrow as well, with with winds in the afternoon and early evening hours blowing out of the west at 10 to 15 miles per hour. But tomorrow will be a little bit warmer with a high temperature in the 50s, a high temperature of 55 degrees, along with clouds moving in and out of our area as we move throughout the daytime tomorrow. That's a first look at your Skywatch forecast. Now back to the desk.
All right, thanks, Emily. Now in other news tonight, the government shutdown could be coming to an end.
Ivan Rodriguez has the latest on Capitol Hill negotiations and what comes next.
A Sunday night breakthrough in the Senate is putting Congress on a path to potentially end the shutdown.
Our long national nightmare is finally coming to an end.
8 Democratic centrists broke with party leaders to join Republicans in a 60-40 vote to advance a federal funding measure in exchange for a future vote on extending Enhanced Affordable Care Act subsidies. However, Republicans have not guaranteed to extend the health care subsidies that are at the heart of the fight, frustrating party progressives.
That is a totally meaningless gesture. You can get 100 votes here in the Senate. Won't mean anything because the House is not going to take it up.
But for the senators who chose to break, the compounding impacts of the shutdown, including unpaid federal workers, snarled travel due to air traffic controller shortages, and the loss of critical food assistance through SNAP benefits, pushed them to cut a deal.
We need to get the government open because we have millions of Americans who are suffering.
If the battle plan isn't working, you change the battle plan, you try another tactic.
What Democrats do get out of a deal to end the shutdown includes jobs restored for thousands of federal workers fired during the shutdown, protections against mass federal layoffs through the end of the fiscal year, back pay for furloughed workers, and fund SNAP benefits through the 2026 fiscal year. For the millions of Americans feeling the shutdown pain, the end may finally be near. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
Now, the shutdown could last a few more days as members of the House return to Washington to vote on the legislation. The final 64 to Senate vote broke a stalemate that lasted more than 6 weeks.
A Republican candidate for Illinois governor says he's staying in the race weeks after suffering a family tragedy. Darren Bailey made the announcement in a video message with his wife, Cindy, Monday. Bailey says he decided to stay in the race after prayer and honest conversations. Last month, Bailey's son, daughter-in-law, and 2 grandchildren died in a helicopter crash in Montana. Bailey was the Republican candidate for governor in 2022. The city of Urbana is warning of a scam that may come to your inbox. City officials say residents and businesses have been getting emails with fake invoices that appear to come from government agencies, including the city of Urbana. Officials say the documents look official, but they are a scam. If you think you've received a fake invoice, the city says you do not have to pay it and have an Urbana official confirm its validity.
A local state park is welcoming deer hunters. Fox Ridge in Coles County is hosting a mentored archery deer hunt opportunity for both youth and adults through the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. That program starts December 15th and runs through January 4th. IDNR says only hunters with less than 3 years of deer hunting experience and those not previously chosen for the mentorship program can apply. Online applications will be accepted on IDNR's website through Friday, November 28th. A fast food chain is set to close hundreds of locations. The interim CEO of Wendy's, Ken Cook, told analysts that consistently underperforming locations are dragging down the company's performance. He gave a percentage estimate of stores to close that would equal about 200 to 350 locations. The announcement comes a year after Wendy's announced the closing of 140 restaurants, also for underperformance. Cook says the closure will start soon and continue into next year, but Wendy's leaders have not issued a list of specific locations.
Here's your chance to see an original copy of the Gettysburg Address. A handwritten version of the speech will be on display through December 1st at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum in Springfield. Officials say the museum is the only place in the country where people can regularly see Lincoln's famous speech written in the former president's own handwriting. Admission to the museum will be free next Wednesday, November 19th, which is the 162nd anniversary of Lincoln giving the speech at a military cemetery in Pennsylvania. Sarah Bush Lincoln is flipping the switch on a classic holiday tradition. The facility is hosting a Night of Lights, a drive-through lights display on the Mattoon Hospital's campus. After the lights display, Sarah Bush Lincoln invites people to stop by Entrance H to meet Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus, and enjoy free hot chocolate and cookies. The event is November 20th, starting at 5, and is free and open to everyone. Well, say goodbye to the snow. A warming trend starts today.
We're talking near record temps this weekend. Emily?
That's right, temperatures will be warming up into the 70s as we start the weekend, but how long can these warmer temperatures last? I'll have the answer coming up.
In Canada, as of last month, more than 5,000 cases of measles were reported for the year. That's more than twice as many as the previous 25 years combined, and has led to the loss of the country's measles elimination status. Some worry the status in the United States isn't far behind. Dr. Keisha Davis with the American Academy of Family Physicians says measles is a serious respiratory illness characterized by a sore throat, high fever, cough, and a rash on the body. Serious complications in severe cases include pneumonia, brain swelling, even death, and the virus is highly contagious. The latest CDC data reports 1,681 confirmed measles cases in the U.S. this year as of November 4th. Of those, 92% were unvaccinated or had an unknown vaccination status. Davis says vaccination against measles is the best protection. It's typically given to children between 12 and 15 months of age, with the second dose given at 4 to 6 years old. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
This week is Winter Weather Safety Week, and to start off today, we're going to talk about some snowy travel safety. Now, blowing snow and fog can reduce visibility, so slow down to avoid crashes as you're traveling as we move further into this winter season. And along with that, also prepare a winter storm kit. This can include a cell phone charger, blankets, or extra layers to keep warm, flashlight, or a first aid kit just in case you do get stranded on the side of the road while traveling. And also winterize your vehicle before the first major snow. This can include checking your wipers, tires, lights, and fluid levels regularly, and make sure your transmission and brakes work properly. Now, we saw some snow that came into our area yesterday, but that snow has since begun to melt as we move into today, with warmer temperatures beginning to move into our area. We saw some colder temperatures today, but more warmer air is going to be moving through into our area as we move into the weekend, into the end of this work week. But for today, we saw just a slight warm up with high temperatures in the 40s, a high temperature of 44 degrees here in Charleston, although we did get close to 50 over in Taylorville with a high temperature of 48 degrees over there. But as we move overnight tonight, we're going to see temperatures begin to drop down into the 30s, a low temperature of 36 degrees overnight tonight under mostly clear skies. But we saw some strong winds today, and those strong winds are going to continue as we move overnight tonight. Winds blowing out of the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour as we move overnight tonight and eventually into tomorrow. But as we look at our skies overnight tonight, we're going to be seeing not many clouds, mostly clear skies, just a few clouds in the northern portions of our area. But as we look at tomorrow, we're going to be seeing those strong winds continuing to be with us, with winds blowing out of the west this time at 10 to 15 miles per hour in the afternoon and early evening hours. But it is going to be a little bit warmer tomorrow with a high temperature back up into the 50s, a high temperature of 55 degrees for your Wednesday, and clouds are going to be moving in and out of our area as we move throughout the daytime tomorrow. So partly cloudy skies for your daytime. Few times of the day there will be mostly cloudy skies, but they will clear up and move in and out throughout the daytime. Now, the reason for this warm up is because of our upper level jet stream. You're seeing now we are currently under a trough of colder air. As this jet stream begins to move, we're going to see this trough push off to the east, and a ridge of warmer air is going to push over top of us by the time we make it to our weekend. This will be on Saturday. We're going to see some warmer temperatures begin to move into our area as we finish off this work week and move into the weekend. Now, the temperatures are going to start to warm up, and that's going to put us above average for the next 6 to 10 days. That average for this time of year is typically in the 50s, and as we look forward, we're going to see quite a few temperatures above that. High temperature at 55 degrees tomorrow, eventually warming up into the upper 50s by the time we make it to Thursday. And by the time we finish off this work week, we're going to be back up into the 60s, a high temperature of 62 degrees on Friday under partly cloudy skies. But by the time we make it to the weekend, we're going to see a high temperature of 70 degrees on Saturday. That 70-degree temperature is going to make for a very nice start to our weekend, but it's not going to last for long because we are going to see a high temperature dip back down into the 50s for Sunday. And eventually by next work week, we're going to see a high temperature of 46 degrees on Monday and a high of 45 degrees on Tuesday. So we're going to see a warm weekend, but it is going to cool down after that.
Well, Emily, you know you're from Illinois when it is snowing one day and 70 degrees the next, and it's all in November.
Yeah, I definitely won't take this weekend for granted, though. Thanks, Emily. And still to come in sports, Illinois men's basketball faces a big early test in their season. We'll have the preview right after this.
And also coming up, the NBA's biggest and tallest superstar heads to Chicago to face the Red Hot Bulls. Thanks for watching. Your WEIU Sports Watch Report is coming up next.
Tired of the same old playlist? Let Hitmix 88.9 WEIU be your source for your favorite throwbacks and today's biggest hits. No skips needed. From deep dives on local topics, a lively morning show, and EIU Panther sports, we've got your back 24/7. And we're not just hitting play, we're building futures. Because behind every mic is a student making moves. It's your music, your station, Hitmix 88.9 WEIU.
Illinois men's basketball hosts the third contest of a 4-game season opening homestand tonight, welcoming Texas Tech to town. The Illini are ranked 14th in the latest AP poll, but they still trail the undefeated Red Raiders, who are ranked 11th. U of I has cruised through their first 2 games against Jackson State and Florida Gulf Coast, but Texas Tech is by far their biggest test yet. Head coach Brad Underwood says winning this game is crucial to build momentum for the rest of the season.
We want to be the best. So you got to play some of the best teams in the country to do that, and you know, I think we've got a nice stretch coming up here where you've got some high level opponents, teams competing for national championships and Final Fours, and you want to find out where you're at.
That stretch Underwood is referring to includes upcoming contests against Patriot League juggernaut Colgate on Friday, a showdown with 8th-ranked Alabama next Wednesday in Chicago, and a Black Friday matchup against 3rd-ranked UConn. As for tonight's marquee game, the early season top 15 showdown tips off at 7:30 in the State Farm Center. We cross the state line and head to Indiana, where the ACC's Notre Dame Fighting Irish get ready to host Zion Brewster and the Eastern Illinois Panthers. AIU upset Nichols in their home opener and entered the contest 1-1 on the young season. Brewster was cooking in that one, dropping a game-high 25 points. Notre Dame is one of the biggest football programs in the country, but have notoriously struggled to transfer that success on the court. But the Irish have started the season undefeated thus far. This game tips off tonight at 6:30 in South Bend. As for the Indiana State men's team, they pick up their first Division I victory of the season as they defeat the defending OVC champion SIU Cougars 64-55. Kent Wagner leads the way for the Sycamores, recording a team-high 16 points and 4 three-pointers. Ian Scott continues to surprise, corralling a career-high 13 rebounds in the victory. Next up for ISU is a trip to North Carolina on Friday to face the 4th-ranked Duke Blue Devils. The Chicago Bulls are back in action against the San Antonio Spurs, but can they get the job done without their star player Josh Giddey? The Spurs come out hot leading this one in the first as Stephon Castle gets crafty on the rim for this layup to extend the lead. Here comes the 7'5" big man, Victor Wembanyama, playing like a guard, draining this three with no hesitation. But the Bulls play with no fear as they take the lead, and Kevin Huerter wants to make sure they keep it this way with this 3-ball. Wemby is one of the hardest players to guard, and he proves it as he barely jumps but dunks over 2 defenders. Late in the fourth, Ayo Dosunmu has a chance to take the lead, and he does exactly that as he drains this shot, and Benny the Bull is loving it. But with the game on the line, Wemby pulls up for 3 like no one is even guarding him, and that would be the dagger as the Spurs come out on top 121-117. The University of Illinois women's soccer team is heading back to the NCAA tournament. The Illini qualified for the tournament for the first time in 12 years, dating back to their Sweet 16 run in 2013. Illinois was anchored all season by Izzy Lee, who set the program's single-season saves record of 118. Katie Holton is now the first head coach in program history to make the tournament in her first season. The number 10th ranked Fighting Illini will face off against number 7 Memphis on November 15th. This season comes to a heartbreaking close for high school volleyball teams chasing a state title. In Class 1A, Cissna Park impressive year continues as they take down Windsor. The Wildcats advances to the semifinals where they will face Tremont. In Class 3A, Breeze Matterdeg loses a close matchup against number 1 seed Normal University and now moves on to the semifinals to take on Prairie Ridge. The top-ranked Parkland College volleyball team impressive playoff streak continues as they head back to the NJCAA Division II National Tournament. The Cobras clinched their spot in the tournament after a dominant showing last weekend, sweeping Spoon River College and Illinois Central College. This is the 17th straight national tournament appearance for the Cobras. In addition to the team title, 4 players earned all-region honors for their play on the court. The tournament will be in Cedar Rapids, and bracket and seeding matchups will be announced soon. Finally tonight, EIU senior setter Catalina Roshai receives her 3rd OVC Setter of the Week award. Roshai's 10.82 assists per set currently ranks 4th in the nation and comfortably leads the conference. The Panthers are gearing up for a big 2-game showdown beginning this Thursday against OVC leader Morehead State. And that's all for sports. Over to you, Matt.
Thanks, Prashad. Say goodbye to any snow left on the ground. A warming trend starts today. Emily Davis returns in just a moment to recap the forecast for Mattoon, Effingham, Marshall, and all the area next. But first, a wicked piece of Hollywood memorabilia is going on the auction block, and we'll have the details in tonight's parting story. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU.
Amazing video of 2 spectacular phenomena occurring side by side showcases the show-stopping power of nature. The video shows Hawaii's Mount Kilauea volcano spewing a massive fountain of lava, a reported 1,000 feet into the air, while right behind it, a tornado-like funnel of dust and ash is seen swirling into the sky. Called a volnado, the twister-like occurrence is caused by the contrast between the heated air near the lava and the cooler ambient air. The dramatic dual displays prove Mother Nature isn't just a mad scientist, but also a pretty fantastic entertainer. She also has a decent sense of humor. Just take a look at this big, goofy sea lion that made its way onto a rainy road in Washington state and then refused to budge, standing its ground in front of a police vehicle. Cosmopolis PD shared images of the blubbery big guy on social media, saying the surreal sight was definitely not on their bingo card for 2025. UPI reports the Department of Fish and Wildlife was informed, and rescuers were able to eventually coax the stubborn mammal back into a nearby river. But hey, Cosmopolis PD played their part too. They later updated their Facebook profile photo using Photoshop. So, job well done, everybody. Finally, take a look at an adorable reunion between a baby otter and its mother that unfolded on the California coastline. After the otter pup was found stranded on a Morro Bay beach, rescuers used recordings of its cries played on a Bluetooth speaker to locate its mother in the bay. Once the adult otter started following the boat, in went the pup, which was scooped up and floated home on its mother's stomach. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
And finally tonight, how much would you pay for this? The iconic Wicked Witch hat from the 1939 film The Wizard of Oz is hitting the auction block. Heritage Auction is selling the black wool hat on December 9th. It's 14 inches tall and 19.5-inch brim and an elastic chin strap. The Wicked Witch's hat sold for nearly $3 million last year, but memorabilia experts think its value is much higher now. Last year, Heritage Auction sold a pair of Dorothy's ruby slippers from the film for, get this, $28 million. Well, there's no place like home, Emily, and I'm ready for some warmer weather.
I'm also ready for some warmer weather, and we're going to start to see some of that tomorrow with a high temperature of 55 degrees. Not too warm, but starting to warm up from what we've seen the past few days. Along with that, we're going to be seeing another windy day tomorrow with winds out of the west at 10 to 15 miles per hour in the afternoon. Clouds will be coming in and out as we move throughout the daytime tomorrow, but after tomorrow, we're going to see temperatures begin to warm up even further with a high temperature of 58 degrees on Thursday, eventually getting up into the 60s by the end of our work week, a high temperature of 62 degrees on Friday under partly cloudy skies. But by the time we make it to our weekend, we're going to see a high temperature of 70 degrees on Saturday, but that will come to an end as we finish off our weekend, with temperatures cooling back down into the 50s on Sunday, and eventually in the 40s by next work week. That's a final look at your Skywatch forecast. Now back to the desk.
All right, thanks, Emily. Now that's all the time we have for tonight's edition of Newswatch.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the rest of your evening. BBC News is coming up next on WEIU.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection. Commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
The Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street. The Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.